Hey friends, let's paint a seascape today, shall we? I'm coming in with just a clean wet brush and laying that down in the upper third or so of the paper. And now coming in with sky blue from my Paul Rubens set and just laying that color in there nicely, letting it just have a nice soft wash with the water that I already laid down. And I will be adding a little bit of some darker shades in there as well. But just to start off with here, adding that first layer of sky blue. And you can mix different colors. I just took it right out of the pan, added some water to it to kind of dilute it a bit for that first layer. And now I just tapped my brush directly into that color in the pan, and I'm just going to be darkening up the upper portion and also putting some wispy lines of the darker color throughout the sky just to give me some nice variation. And I will be making clouds here in a little bit, so I might be doing these wispy lines for no reason, but that's okay. It looks good to me now, and it is relaxing for me to do this, and I love watching it blend with the water and just having that variation in there. You could also leave it like this if you don't want to add clouds. This is a nice way to just add some lights and darks into your sky. But I'm going to come in with just a little piece of paper towel here, and I'll just bunch up a little portion of it, and I'm going to lift some of the color off of the paper to form my clouds. Again, optional step, but just kind of, if you feel like adding clouds, do one, take a step back, see if you want some more. I'm kind of doing an indication of 3 clouds here, and we will be adding some more to the clouds. But for now, I'm going to grab my Prussian blue. Like I said, for the sky, I used sky blue, but the water, I'm using Prussian blue. And I have a dry brush now. Same brush I used for the other one, so relatively dry. I cleaned it and I tapped it on my paper towel, so there's very little water and actually very little color as well. And I want my water to be on an angle. I'll show you a photo here of what I'm very loosely basing this off of. This is a photo that I took in Scarborough, Maine. And anyway, this dry brush technique is great for water. If you're doing an ocean, it's really good for if you're doing like a lake or something like that, because it gives the illusion of the light reflecting off the water, or in our case for the ocean, it's going to give the illusion of like the sea foam. And it's just a very quick and easy way to achieve that look. And we will be adding some darker shades in there as well, just to make the wave breaks look maybe a little more realistic. But just tweak this until you like what you're seeing there. And like I said, the reference photo that I showed you, this is a very, very, very loose interpretation of that. I liked the angle of the water. Obviously, I didn't do the same angle of the clouds or the sun. I didn't do any of the variation of colors like the pinks and oranges. Okay, once that's completely dry, we're going to come in and add our sand. I'm using umber from my set and just going to lay that in here. My tape looks like it's a little bit coming up, but laying in the umber and on the angle, of course, as well, and just a light wash to begin with, and then we'll play with that a little bit. Now I've come in and I've tapped my brush into the color directly with no water added to it, but I do have a little bit of water on my brush, and I just want to darken it up in spots. And so again, I'm playing as you're watching, and we're just going to darken up areas to give variation of wetness of sand and the way the light's hitting it, all the things. And then we will add some of the sea foam in the sand as well. And I'm coming in with my bleed proof white, Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white, and I'm just going to play a little bit with adding some of the sea foam to the sand. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that I needed to let the sand dry. So coming back in now that everything is dry and adding the white so that it looks more like the foam rather than blending in with the sand. And you can see I'm just tapping and just, again, playing here. And for this, I don't want it to be a straight line. So I'm just kind of going in and out, not thinking about it too much, just not even looking at my photo, honestly, just kind of tapping it in until I get the desired result. And if you're new to watercolors and you're wondering, why aren't you just using white watercolors? What is this bleed proof white? Well, watercolors are transparent. And so if I put white on top of the brown or the blues, it's just going to be transparent. So you're going to see those browns and blues through the white. So that's why I'm using a more opaque medium like the bleed proof white. All right, on my brush now, I've got some more Prussian blue, and I'm just coming in under some of the sea foam to make it look like the underside of the wave, if that makes sense. Just trying to make the waves have more dimension, maybe look a little bit more realistic. And yeah, again, I'm practicing here, and I literally did not practice this painting. I'm doing that with you and hoping that it works out. That's kind of how I approach pretty much every video I do. I paint and I video and I hope it works out. And if it doesn't, I can scrap it and do another video, but almost always I just leave my mistakes in. If you've been around here, you know that. So I just leave it in and show you how I try to fix my mistakes and hopefully teach you a thing or two about any mistakes that you might encounter. All right, taking a look here, and I decided I wanted to darken up the horizon line a little bit. If you look at my reference photo here, there's actually maybe trees, and I'm not sure, there's some buildings and such, but I like that dark line in between the water and the sky, so I'm doing it. But then when I laid my line in, I thought, first of all, that's very crooked. And second of all, it's kind of a harsh line. And so after I kind of tweak it here a little bit, I am coming in with a clean, wet brush, damp brush, more like it. And I'm just brushing along the horizon line to one, try to straighten it out, and two, just soften up the edge of that line a little bit. So it's more blended with the water rather than a harsh line. Although, funny enough, when I look at the reference photo, it is kind of a harsh line in the photo, but that's more of a black because it's a silhouette of the trees and buildings, but that's okay. Blending it in, and then I decided to add a little darkness under this wave over here, just because it looked like it needed it. And now I'm coming in with Payne's Gray. I'm going to work on the clouds a little bit, kind of add a little bit more dimension to those, little shadows under the clouds. And again, adding some depth and dimension to those. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'm practicing. I don't do clouds. If you've seen my videos for any period of time, landscapes are not something that I do very often. I would like to practice those more because that's kind of what I did when I used to do acrylics, but not so much in watercolors. And I would like to do some more of those here and there. So kind of trying to add some shape and, like I said, dimension to the clouds. And I will be tweaking these because I don't really know what I'm doing. Now I've come in with a clean brush and I'm just softening up because I didn't like those really hard lines. And so again, damp brush, and I'm kind of just doing circular motions and then just, again, just rubbing up against those lines of Payne's gray that I had and softening everything up so my clouds are fluffy rather than kind of rigid like they're looking to me. As you can see, just little scribbly circular motions and just playing with it. Okay, all finished with tweaking the Payne's Gray, and now I'm coming in with some more bleed proof white, and I'm going to soften up the clouds even more because honestly, some of them I don't like the Payne's Gray, how it's looking. It still looks a little rough to me and maybe a little bit too much of it. And I want nice white fluffy clouds. So you can see just dabbing a little bit of my bleed proof white into the clouds where I think it'll soften them up nicely. And this one over here, this one is looking a little bit too much like an oval, so I'm just going to kind of add some floof here and there to just make that shape a little bit more organic rather than so much like an oval. It's one of the many benefits that I see of painting small like this is that I can just play and I don't feel like I've put all this time and money into a piece and feel like I have to redo it. I'm just playing and it's all good. I'm just going to see it through, and even if I don't like it at the end, well, then I just get another little piece of paper and I try again, maybe from a different perspective or use different colors. Okay, I'm happy with what I see, so I'm gonna dry this completely, and then it's time to peel our tape off and reveal our border, which I think just oftentimes gives it such a nice finished look. What do you think? Sweet, right? And whenever I have a border, it makes me feel like I want to sign it. And so just put my little signature down at the bottom here to finish it off. And then I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can have a better look at it. What do you think? Anything you would do differently? Again, I am open to any suggestions you have as I'm practicing right along with you. And then I'm going to put it on a little miniature easel, taking a page out of the book of my friend Lisa with Our Gray House and my friend Ida from Ida Art. I'll link them in the description, but isn't that so cute? I just love it on the easel. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining me. And if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing and joining me for the next one.